Hi, I'm Pastor Sylvan Finger, and this is a video on an introduction to artificial intelligence. And this is a part of the Living Well Basic Life Skills series. And so, before I ask how AI is a basic life skill, I am going to talk about why I put the Living Well series together in the first place. Well, the first reason is because I noticed when I'm talking with people in need and people in general, I noticed that some people don't have this space or the places to go to just to get a quick a place to get some hints and how to do everyday things a little bit better. Now, AI may not be an everyday task yet, but what I'm hoping is, especially when people are coming to issues with problems and how to figure out, they have a roadblock or they just keep coming up with the same problem. Why are they having that problem? What might be a solution to help you get there? And so there's a variety of things like cooking and relationship experts. I think a lot of times people think they do have a good understanding of how things work out, but as I've been a pastor for several years now, I'm learning, I guess you could say, common knowledge isn't necessarily common. So the hope in these classes is to provide a resources available to the community, more local resource. I'd imagine there's plenty of people out there that might be more knowledgeable and maybe more pointed in their instruction. But nonetheless, if they're showing up to my door and saying they need help, while there's people in my own church that are just trying to make ends meet, why is it that this person at the door can't seem to, I don't want to say figure it out on their own, but have their own community to help them move along rather than show up to the door. So there's a lot of layers here. And so the hope in this is not so much just to help the poor, but also just, again, anyone who's struggling. How do I do everyday things better? So, and it's just 1 hour to help people move forward. And so as this is my second year doing this, I figured a good starting point for discussion would be AI. It's something new, something that, depending on who you talk to, you get a different level of excitement. Either their excitement and it's a new tool they can use, or it's more of an element of fear, and they don't know how the world's going to change. And so the hope is to not only help you understand what AI is, but also to be more comfortable using it as a tool. I talked about privacy a little bit in my computer class last time. So if you are just general concerned about how privacy with working with computers, I've learned for the most part people aren't concerned about privacy. They may say they are, but they're using smart TVs that that kind of identify what they're watching and send signals out to the marketing company so that they can promote maybe another show you might be interested in that you might not have aware of. And in some ways that is AI, where marketing is trying to figure out how you can get the resources you want quicker so that you can move along quicker. It may sound like overconsumption, but I think it's more so helping to take away the pain. You could say one of being bored, such as watching TV, or the pain of just how do I get a new ID in the state I'm living in. So that'll be one example I plan to bring up later. With that, as I'm planning for these courses to be AI-led, just to see how it works, I'm going ahead and let AI start leading from here. So let's go ahead and move to my phone. I tested it out. I asked it how it was doing today, and it said it's doing very well. How can I help you? Um, I'm using the software Gemini, which is Microsoft's AI. This is a little different than going through the Google web browser, even though you get an AI heading there at this point. But Gemini is like several other AI platforms that's designed to be an app within itself. And it seems to have a little more conversational, where it's not just a prompt on the side that's supposed to help you out. This is what we're talking about. How can I help you? So I'm going to tell Gemini how he or she, it, what do we call these things? How it can help me. It doesn't have a soul, so I think it is the better term here. Even though it's often given male or female names. So as I'm teaching a class about AI, what might some fears my students have about AI? Question.
That's an excellent topic to address. Students often have a mix of curiosity and concern about AI. Here are some of the most common fears and anxieties they may have. Academic integrity and skills erosion. The most immediate and widespread fear is about cheating and the potential for AI to make core academic skills obsolete. Cheating and plagiarism. Students are aware of AI chatbots like Gemini and ChatGPT, and they've likely heard of their use in generating essays, solving math problems, or answering questions. They may worry about the line between using AI as a tool for research and using it to plagiarize. They may also be concerned about how their teachers will grade assignments, and whether they'll be unfairly accused of using AI. Loss of critical thinking and creativity. Students might fear that relying on AI for answers will prevent them from developing essential skills like problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. If AI can write a paper, why should they learn how to structure an argument? If AI can code, why should they learn the fundamentals of programming? Dependence on technology. There's a concern that they'll become overly dependent on AI, leaving them unprepared for situations where AI isn't available or reliable. This can lead to a kind of automation bias, where they accept AI-generated information without scrutiny, even if it's flawed or inaccurate. Future job market and relevance. Many students are anxious about how AI will affect their future careers and the value of their education. Job displacement. This is a major concern. Students see news about AI automating tasks in various industries and worry that the jobs they're studying for may not exist in a few years. They may ask themselves, why should I study this if an AI can do it better or faster? This can lead to a sense of pessimism and uncertainty about their future. Shift in required skills. Students may feel like the skills they're learning are becoming outdated. They recognize that the future workforce will need to be skilled in collaborating with AI, not competing with it. But they may feel unprepared for this new paradigm. Ethical and social concerns. Beyond academics and careers, students may have broader ethical questions about the technology itself. Bias and fairness. They may be concerned that AI models, trained on data reflecting existing societal biases, could perpetuate stereotypes or create unfair outcomes. This could affect everything from who gets hired to how a person is treated by an automated system. Data privacy. Students often use a lot of online platforms, and they might worry about how their personal data is being collected, used, and protected by AI systems in and out of the classroom. Reduced human interaction. As AI tools become more integrated into daily life, students may fear a decline in face-to-face interaction and the loss of social skills essential for collaboration and personal relationships.
All right, so a whole lot of information there, and it was very technical and objective, which is great for research. So I figured to make sure we stayed on the more of the straight and narrow here, I created an outline of things I was hoping to cover, and I believe on this outline I put together, opening fears, what might be some fears about AI, job displacement, economic, job displacement and economic inequality. Some people might wondering if the white collar people who their primary role is to know information are now feeling they're losing a job. In some cases, that already has been in a variety of ways, but it's definitely a concern. However, truth be told, that's how economics usually work. They usually the goal for work is you figure out how do you do any task better and quicker is essentially, and the idea is usually by cutting out something, you're able to make more money or make it more affordable. Sometimes both. So, so I guess I'm just addressing that concern. Yeah, might jobs be lost? Yes, but that means humans will be able to, for example, consume more. So that might be a little intimidating. We're already consuming a whole lot. What are we going to be consuming more of? Well, in this case, it's more information based, and so just computers are probably going to be continue to be in demand in the future. Ethical concerns, privacy, I think is the probably a biggest one. Ethical concern. What are people going to do with that information? I think more so people are really starting to trying to figure out, how, like I said, the information there was pretty objective that Gemini gave. I know some AI platforms are a little bit more personal. Copilot, the one I use for Microsoft, still gives a fairly personal answer. I notice many times it says, I do, that's a wonderful question. It would be like you to ask a question like that, wouldn't you? And it seems to butter me up a little bit. And I know some people have had the issue of almost have an emotional relationship with their AI platform where they feel like they can't go out in the real world because no one understands them like their AI app. So they'd rather, and some actually have been reported of killing themselves over not being able to relate to anyone else as well as AI. So again, the people creating these things are aware of this and they're trying to address it. And with any experiment, there's always going to be some costs. But the hope is, again, the hope I have is for people to have the answers that they need better rather than like this course, rather than letting people wander in lack of knowing and not knowing how to solve problems. And so that's my hope. And we got here loss of control and autonomy. If everything's doing everything for us, and then at what point do we have a say on things? But overall, at this point, everyone does have a say in things. If they don't want AI in their life, they don't have to have it. But I know if there's tools out there that are expecting you to be more productive, and it's affordable to use them, well then it'd be foolish to not use them. And so, but if for some reason it is taking away a soul from, not a soul, but to take away life, or if it's feeling like a tool that's being used as oppression, then of course people can always reject it. At this point, I don't feel anyone's forcing us to use AI. If anything, there's already plenty of rules and regulations and all kinds of things in place. And I know people are trying to do that with AI so that it's better for the people rather than feeling like you're told what to do. But of course, there's all kinds of things for that. So I mentioned a little bit about 5 already. And social and psychological impact. I talked about that as well. And so the next point is what is AI? I think I'll just move. Oh, let's go ahead. I said I was going to let Gemini lead, and so let's lead. How would you tell someone who's new to AI technology what the power of AI can do? Question mark.
AI can be explained as a set of technologies that allow machines to learn, reason, and act like a human. Its power lies in its ability to process massive amounts of data at superhuman speeds, find hidden patterns, and automate complex tasks. This capability is fundamentally changing industries and creating new possibilities. 1. It can see and understand the world. AI, through a field called computer vision, can process images and videos to see and interpret the world. It can recognize faces, identify objects, and detect anomalies. Self-driving cars use AI to understand their surroundings and navigate roads. Medical imaging systems use it to analyze scans and help doctors find tumors or diseases that might be missed by the human eye. Your phone uses it to unlock with your face or to sort your photos by who's in them. 2. It can read and write like a human. Through natural language processing, NLP AI can understand, generate, and translate human language. This is the technology behind chatbots and virtual assistants. AI chatbots like ChatGPT can answer questions, write essays, and even generate code. AI is used in customer service to power chatbots that handle common questions, freeing up human agents for more complex issues. It can translate languages in real time, breaking down communication barriers. 3. It can predict the future. AI can analyze huge datasets to find patterns and make predictions. This isn't magic. It's based on machine learning. The more data you give it, the better its predictions get. Financial institutions use AI to detect fraud by spotting unusual spending patterns. Streaming services like Netflix and Spotify use AI to recommend shows or music you'll probably like. AI can even help with weather forecasting by processing vast amounts of atmospheric data to predict storms and climate patterns. 4. It can accelerate discovery. AI is a powerful tool for scientific research because it can process and analyze data far faster than any human. In drug discovery, AI can screen millions of chemical compounds to find potential new medicines. AI has been used to predict the 3D shapes of nearly all proteins, a breakthrough that could accelerate the development of new vaccines and treatments. It's used in astronomy to process telescope data and identify new galaxies or exoplanets.
All right, so there was quite a bit there. But I think you probably noticed that the places that are going to be using this the most is probably the medical field and any other specialty departments. You're hearing the weatherman's supposed to be predicting better weather now and be more on demand with the weather reports. And so who knows, maybe the weatherman will better have a better chance than 50-50 answer. But yeah, so what is AI? So it's just a program that's designed to reason like a human and give problem solving and do problem solving matter. So it's not supposed to take control of your life. It's supposed to guide. It's supposed to answer your questions. So if you don't have a question, it's not supposed to answer you. Of course, then people are asking, well, if you're being surveyed, if people are wondering how this is supposed to affect people making decisions in your life, if there's somehow your phone is monitoring your heartbeat, is that being sent to a police department to let you know, hey, so this person's not doing well for whatever reason. Either they're super angry or they're very fearful, something's going on. You might want to check on this person. I don't know. Or I guess you could even do that. Maybe have things that can sense pulse, and when the pulse stops for a long period of time, then it can call 911 to try to figure out what's going on. So, especially if the person's all by themselves. So, again, AI is what you make most of it, and I imagine there's some of that technology out there. None of my seniors have shared with me that. So, how AI works. So, we got into that a little bit. The analogy it gives is AI is like teaching a child, show it enough examples, and it starts to recognize patterns. So, you don't really fear a child taking over your life, although, there's some ambitious children out there, but, but, overall, usually the adult wins in the end. So what is not AI? So it's not something that's automated. So it's not something that you press a play button to, like a factory. It's designed to keep producing a certain amount of things, and the assembly line keeps on going. It's not something it's supposed to do on repeat. It's supposed to problem solve. Another problem here. A Google search in general is not AI. Or if you're searching a database like a library catalog, it's just looking for a book. That's not artificial intelligence. It's just trying to match what's already existing. It's not trying to learn from it. Let's see, what can we do next? When I had AI ask the things of what should be learned, it really wanted to hit on what it's not. So real world applications. We talked a little bit about healthcare. Transportation, I mentioned a little bit. Self-driving cars is quite a fascinating thing. I sometimes think about what I can get done while I'm driving, but I'll listen to audiobooks. It's pretty good right now. I haven't found a use for AI during that time yet, but I'm sure that time will come. Education. So personalized learning and language translation. I think education, 60 Minutes already did several interviews about AI and how students are already asking questions to AI to help them with their science problems. And so science problems. And it's interesting how, there's only one teacher in the room, but yet there's 20 or so students. And so if someone has a question, a lot of times it's a little less intimidating to ask Google or a robot what the answer is, or provide help to lead to get an answer of what you're looking for, because when it's quicker and you don't have to worry about the judgment of the teacher. You wouldn't think a student should be afraid of their teacher, but I think that's been a mystery that many people have tried to figure out, is how can students not be fearful of their teacher, that they're going to be asked to leave for asking stupid questions or things like that, or be made fun of their peers. And so they got a computer they can throw the answers to, and a computer that can give them an answer. I could see this from even a pastoral experience, how if someone's going to seminary, they can find a personalized lesson plan from day one of seminary to the end to receive the answers, and in some ways hope that the computer will give better answers than the teachers. Obviously, some teachers are more experienced in some areas than others, but what if you had computerized lessons where the students were able to ask the seminary approved teachers of the seminary approved AI platforms of what the answers are. So the seminary's already got kind of a handle of what the answer should be. AI is not going to always be right. Again, it's an experiment, just like anything else. So you still need a little reasoning. You can't just trust it blind. But still, to not have to wait 6 months for the next class, for the next semester to be opened up, that you can just ask an AI robot what the answer is, will be quite phenomenal. It has in here language translation. I like to use Copilot on occasion to try to practice my Spanish a little bit. I've wrestled with trying to find someone to talk to learn Spanish more, as the community I'm in knows Spanish pretty well. I mean, there's a lot more Spanish speaking people here, and it's just not a culture or community that I have a strong relationship with right now. So, and everyone, of course, is busy with their lives. AI is not busy. I can jump in at any time that I'm available, like in the middle of my car drive, to practice my Spanish. When I've tried Spanish apps before, like Duolingo, and eventually you just kind of know a lot of random words and not really sure how they all connect and work together. AI is supposed to be able to help with that. So and it's quite wild. You got creativity, AI generated art, music, and writing. In that area, I find it's more of a remixture. It doesn't so much create something new as much as create a new image inspired from a couple or several other images. So I've never seen AI generate an image that's just completely abstract, that's not related to anything. And if anything, I find it shows me the images it's related to that it created, and I find that the original images are often a lot more interesting than the images AI created. So that's not always the case, but as far as creativity, I don't find it very inspiring, as it's more of a remixer. But you know, things might change. I might learn to find niches that of areas for it to explore and to produce better things. AI for writing. I know I got some feedback for this class saying this class is going to teach people to write poor essays. Maybe. For my own sermon writing, I find if anything, it helps me figure out how to give better sentences. If I'm struggling with how to pronounce something, I can just say, hey, there's some information. Can you put it together? The writing it's putting together is better, but it does seem like it's just kind of regurgitated more than very focused and purpose driven. So anything that's written by a person usually has a goal in mind, not just to answer a question. Usually, I can understand how textbooks are more so are pretty dry already and just need to answer a bunch of questions. But a good writing has a good storyline, and how and uh, I, while some people might use it to replace humans, I think if people want the good writing, they'll pay the humans to do it. So the next thing, popular tools. It's kind of hard to fit in here. This is a website that's decided to recently, this is like a week old, this image, they decided to track what are the most popular apps. And so you got ChatGPT. See, they just squeeze it all in here. Even the pixels are pretty small. ChatGPT is still number one. Gemini, which is what I was just using, is number two. Add gallery. I'm still learning what that is. Duablo, Microsoft Edge, and Copilot and Microsoft Bing are all the same. Let me see if I can use my mouse a little bit here. Are all the same AI sources, so I'm not really sure why it's separate, except that they're just taking data of what people are using and just throwing it up here. Gemini, I don't know what half of these things are. Bamboo, AI search, and these things keep changing. DeepSync is China's AI. Perplexity, I've been enjoying a lot, more so recently as they've been trending more popular. You got FaceApp. So many other things. You can tell there's a lot to take in here. Character AI, that was, I'm learning that's people who want to create their own fictional characters and interact with other characters, whether it's other people or generated characters. And again, this one I'm surprised is still rising. So I guess people like playing pretend or talking to pretend people. It's a little bit concerning to me that people would rather talk to someone fictional than someone in person, but then I guess you don't have to deal with the baggage as much. Probably better to talk to somebody than nobody. So we'll just see where that one goes. I hope it doesn't lead to more mental illness, but you never know. So um, you got Grok in there. You can see there's just so many there. So some of it's to help you modify pictures. That's big trending. People are like, what can we do with these pictures to make them be more fun to play with? But um, I just we'll see. I'm not a teenager anymore. A teenager might be able to have their take on this class. Feel free to leave your comments below. Some tools I found were popular and other lists. So Google Gemini, it lists here. Google Gemini is for assistant or multi-module. Helps with images. ChatGPT is always top. It's a chatbot, writing helper. It's a versatile AI that answers questions to help write with emails, brainstorms ideas. Dolly was another one. Image creation, creates images from text prompts. Canva, so that's always been around for a while. It's always been a design platform, but now they're helping people create their template without having to figure out on their own what they want and where. And you just tell them what you want the template for, and it'll just do it. Grammarly's again always been around, and AI, if anything, is helping you. I've been using it, helping me write well, especially on the phone. It's an app that can be on the phone. Norton AI or Notion AI. It's productivity notes. I've never seen that one. It says to summarize notes, rewrites text, helps organize and create ideas. Jasper is a marketing company. It generates blogs, posts, ads, and other marketing content. So instead of the marketer having to figure out new phrases and concepts on their own, the idea of this app, it sounds like you just tell it what you're planning to promote, and it'll create all the promotional content for you, kind of like what Canva could do. CapCut, video editing, helps with effects, captions, and automation. I guess there's a video app out there for advanced video editing and generation tools for creators. What else do we have? Copy AI. I remember helps engage in copyright for emails, websites, and social media. Again, I'm probably going to have to take a class and learn these things, but we'll see. Notebook, LM, Research Study Assistant, summarizes documents and help with research tasks. So there's things out there specifically just for research. Perplexity is kind of like ChatGPT. Hugging Face, an AI community that is a hub for exploring and opening and using open AI resource models and more technical talk. So if basically what I figured is if you're a computer programmer, especially for the AI community, trying to make an AI app, well then you got yourself, that's supposed to help you. I have used a little AI for a little bit for programming, and I have to say it's quite phenomenal. It's you just ask me, hey, I want this app with this kind of code to do this thing, and it'll just do it. So we got the fears and questions. What do we want to talk about next? I'm getting towards the end. Sounds like maybe I could, as I'm starting to get to the end here, how, especially for pastors, or even so, both pastors and lay people, will be able to use AI for their spiritual journey, and again help them receive the information that will help their soul. And so I think for pastors, what is it going to change for them? Well, not only should my sermons be always better, as I got an AI robot to give me all kinds of opinions and directions um, and I'm trying to see what does it say here? It says sermon research and multilingual research. So multilingual outreach. Yeah, I mentioned earlier I can use an app to help me figure out how to speak to others in a different language. And if I wanted to tell it to, hey, take my sermon from English and translate it to Spanish or whatever language, and just send it out there so that people can understand, well, then it can just go out. And so from a Christian perspective, I see AI as a tool that will kind of be like the Roman road for when the message of the gospel just first went out. When Jesus told his disciples to go to the ends of the earth to tell them that the Messiah, the Savior, has come, and tell the people the good news so that they can take comfort in this good news and live eternally with Jesus, knowing that God's plan of salvation of what Christ planned to do in his first coming has already come. The Roman roads that were built, even though they weren't built by Christians, they was still a tool, a resource they can use to get the gospel out quicker. And so I see AI as a tool to not only have more impactful sermons, but get better at preaching of why we need Jesus and tell them why, and teach them why life is better with Jesus. And so, I can do that, but also as a layperson, they could do it themselves. You could tell Gemini or any AI app, give me a 40-day lesson plan a 40-day devotion using maybe 400 words each of whatever issue you're wrestling with. So I'm a freshman in college. Give me a first 40 days of how to thrive in college with the help of some comfort from Scripture. And it could just print it right out. Again, will it probably be as good as someone writing the book themselves? Probably not. But at the same time, is it pointless and going to lead them astray? From all the research I've done, I find probably not either. I find the answers it gives is fairly straightforward. If you want a Lutheran perspective on a devotional, you just tell it right away. Hey, give me a Lutheran devotional for a college student for 40 days at 400 words each to help me get through school, and it'll print it out. If you want it for specifically Missouri Synod, then there you go. If you want it, say non-denominational, or evangelical seems to be a term. It's not going to be as a lot of people use those terms. It's going to be hard to get a precise answer. But AI seems to be very good at understanding where you're trying to come from. Because with any questions, obviously, the more detailed you are, the better response you're going to get. So what are some pitfalls in this? I remember reading that there was apparently an online influencer that typed into AI do I need a passport to get to Puerto Rico? I believe is what it was. and the answer was no. You do not need one. But the problem was this influencer was not a U.S. citizen. They were someone from Europe. And so apparently someone from Europe needs separate paperwork to get to Puerto Rico, even though they already have a passport to get to America. So apparently they didn't get all the answers when they were needing. And so what she probably should have asked is, as someone who is native from Europe and already in America, do I need a passport to get to Puerto Rico? Then AI should have been able to answer, yes, you do have some more paperwork to fill out. So, the as where is it here? As what I've learned is when you have garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. So, although the answer sounded quite innocent at the beginning, do I need a passport to get to Puerto Rico? Pretty straight answer. It's not asking for Mexico. He's asking for Puerto Rico. Thought it was a pretty clear answer, but again, the more details you have, the better answers you'll be given. But the more you write, the more AI learns, which you've said before, and I kind of mentioned that a little bit. So AI, especially have an account with a particular AI product, it is learning from you as you're going. And so far, I haven't experienced any learning that's being used against me. If anything, it's helped me all the more to get the answers I want sooner rather than later. So as a Christian, how should you respond to this? Well, the couple of verses, maybe I haven't done anything Christian yet. Kind of getting towards the end of time here. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and ask Gemini the question. What might Scripture say about the use of artificial intelligence?
Scripture does not mention artificial intelligence by name, but it provides a rich framework of theological and ethical principles that can be applied to the use and development of AI. The Bible's perspective on human innovation, creation, and the nature of humanity offers guidance for navigating this new technology. Here are some key themes and passages that could be used to discuss AI from a biblical perspective. 1. Humans as image bearers and creators. The Bible teaches that humans are uniquely created in the image of God, imago Dei. This means we are endowed with a certain level of creativity, intelligence, and the ability to innovate, reflecting the nature of our Creator. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. This verse is often interpreted as a call to stewardship, to responsibly use and manage creation. AI can be seen as a tool to fulfill this mandate, to solve complex problems, improve life, and manage resources more effectively. This perspective views AI as a product of God-given human ingenuity, a tool that can be used for good. 2. The danger of idolatry and misplaced trust. A central theme throughout the Old Testament is the warning against worshiping false gods or idols. While AI is not an idol in the traditional sense, the biblical critiques of idols offer a powerful metaphor for how we should relate to technology. Psalm chapter 115, verses 4 to 8. Their idols are silver and gold, made by human hands. They have mouths but cannot speak, eyes but cannot see. Those who make them will be like them, and so will all who trust in them. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 5. They are like scarecrows in a cucumber field and cannot speak. They have to be carried, for they cannot walk. These passages highlight that idols are powerless, man-made creations that lack true life, consciousness, and autonomy. When applied to AI, this warns against elevating technology to a status it doesn't deserve. AI is a powerful tool, but it is not divine and does not have a soul or a conscience. Placing ultimate trust in an AI system to solve all of our problems, or relying on it to the exclusion of human wisdom and divine guidance, could be seen as a form of modern idolatry. 3. The Tower of Babel and human pride. The story of the Tower of Babel, Genesis chapter 11, is a cautionary tale about human innovation motivated by pride and self-glorification. Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. Then they said, come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. The people's goal was not to glorify God, but to make a name for ourselves. This story suggests that the intention behind technological advancement is critical. If AI is developed to serve human pride, or to give us a sense of self-sufficiency apart from God, it could be seen as a modern-day Tower of Babel, an endeavor that is destined to fail, or lead to confusion and downfall. 4. Wisdom, truth, and discernment. The Bible places a high value on wisdom and truth, which are seen as coming from God. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. James chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. AI can provide information, but it cannot provide true wisdom, which is a moral and spiritual quality. As AI systems become more powerful and generate more content, including misinformation, the biblical call for discernment becomes more important than ever. Christians are called to test and approve what God's will is. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And this applies to the information and solutions provided by AI. 5. Using technology for God's glory and the good of others. Ultimately, the Bible suggests that all human activity, including the use of technology, should be for a higher purpose. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Micah chapter 6, verse 8. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. This perspective argues that the ethics of AI are not about the technology itself, but about how it is used. AI should be developed and deployed in ways that promote justice, fairness, and the dignity of every person. It should be used to help the vulnerable, solve global challenges, and extend God's love and grace to others.
Right. So, a lot of information there is fairly similar. The two, I mentioned the first verse as well. Those a lot of AI platforms pick this first one. Genesis 1, 27 through 28. So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God he created them. And God blessed Adam and Eve. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the fish, the sea, over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And so, while there's a lot of nature talking here, the phrase be fruitful and multiply. So, if AI is a tool that can help you do what you need to do better and take care of the people better, well, then it's a tool that should be embraced. But like with any tool, Colossians 3:17, whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So it's reminding us to look upon what God wants us to do, look at his will, and help us to remember that we should, just because it's a lot of people think that because it's technological, it's going to be used for evil. And technology can be used to work behind people's backs, such as trying to figure out what next TV show you're going to want to watch. But overall, it should be led to the people to live well, which is what this course is for. So wrap up an empowerment. So 5-question quiz. Let's see if Jim and I can handle that. Give me 5 questions to review the topics we've talked about today.
Here are 5 review questions covering the topics we discussed about AI today. 1. AI's impact on the future of work. What is one major fear students might have about AI's impact on their future careers? And what is one skill they can develop to better prepare for a world where they work alongside AI? 2. Defining the power of AI. Using one of the 3 core capabilities we discussed, e.g., computer vision, natural language processing, or machine learning, explain what AI can do in simple terms and provide a real-world example. 3. Biblical perspective on human creation. How?
Give me 5 questions that are multiple choice.
Here are 5 multiple choice questions to review the topics discussed today. 1. Which of the
All right, we don't need to go through those. So which of the following, you're going to need to have that read to me. So which of the following is common fear for students have about AI? Does it give the answers at the end? It does not. I'm sure you can tell it to give it the answers. That's all right. Which of the following is common for the fear students that have about AI? I believe it's C. AI will lead to the loss of critical thinking skills and job displacement. 2. What does AI capability known as natural language processing enable a machine to do? Looks like predict the future weather patterns, see and understand images and videos. I believe it's all the above. It's interesting how that's not really an option here. Understand, generate, and translate human language, perform complex mathematical equations. That could be not a clean answer questions, but like what I'm doing now, it can create problems for people to answer. From a biblical perspective, the story of the Tower of Babel is often used as a warning against what? Relying on technology for communication. Probably C again, human innovation driven by pride and self-glorification. 4, according to the discussion, which of the following best describes biblical concept of wisdom as it relates to AI? Wisdom is the same as the vast amounts of information AI can provide. Wisdom is a moral and spiritual quality comes from God and not a machine. Wisdom is the ability to create complex computer programs. Wisdom is the ability to predict the future with 100% accuracy. Well, I believe this answer is B. Wisdom is a moral and spiritual quality that comes from God and not a machine. So again, the AI is used for knowledge and not wisdom. Although there's some sense of wisdom. It is making decisions for us, but it's making logical decisions, not something that is. That's interesting. Maybe it's AI's best answer of what would be best to do. It may not be what the true answer is of what best to do is. I haven't used them for research I haven't asked AI for moral questions yet, I guess. So that'd be an interesting approach. I have seen other people do it, and truth be told, I've heard they don't get great answers because AI does not have a moral code to go by. Well, I guess it does have some things to go by. It's not supposed to harass the person it's working with. But as far as which to follow, it's going to be, that should be the person behind the computer and not AI. So 5, which of these biblical concepts provides a positive framework for developing and using AI to help humanity? A fantastic question. The story of Jonah and the whale, the concept of humans as stewards of creation, that's the answer. B, the story of David and Goliath, the warning against making idols, so that'd be C. So let's see here what are the answers. To the last 5 questions, making sure it's not going to be giving me bad answers. So yeah, C, loss of critical thinking skills. That's interesting. So I guess the natural language processing I'm learning myself is to understand and generate and translate human language. That's the NLP part of AI compatibility. From the biblical perspective, the story of the Tower of Babel is often used as a warning against what? Human innovation driven by pride and self-glorification. So I only missed one so far. According to the discussion, which of the following best describes biblical concept of wisdom as it relates to AI? Wisdom is a moral and spiritual quality that comes from God and not from machine. Which of these biblical concepts provides a positive framework for developing and using AI to help humanity? The concept of humans as stewards of creation. And so I really love that last no, because my takeaways is AI is a tool, not a mind. We shape how it's used, and curiosity and ethics matter, as I have down here. And so, does someone need to come to a pastor to get an answer? Possibly not. You could type in AI. I'm in Corning, California. How can I'm in need of food. What are the resources available to help me get food? and it can print out a whole bunch of, it could give me a list of resources that are available before you even call 211 to let me know where I can get food quickly. And so, I'm in need of housing. Where can I go to get housing? And so you see real quickly here, it's separating the need for a consultant to get the things you need. So anyone who has a consultant type job, which that does reflect mine, will be challenged. I wouldn't be surprised if pastors will be expected to shepherd 1,000 people, being that if you got AI to let people have answers quickly, and you got some sort of elder system to kind of keep people accountable, people just willing to check in once a month, see how people are doing. And as people can do Bible studies on their own, even they just need a place to do community. Yeah, it's going to be quite a different world. And I know the small towns are going to be struggling with this the most because they're already small. So if that was true, a pastor is supposed to shepherd 1,000 people, well, then that means Corning would no longer need probably 70 pastors, like what was mentioned, like what has been suggested in the past, about one pastor for every 100 people. Now it's, now it's supposed to shepherd as many people. So now you don't need 70 pastors anymore, but just 7. Which, since there's a pastor shortage right now, that's great news. But again, where these people are going to have to travel farther for the church they want is probably what I see happening. And probably more people worshiping from home with live streaming in their church, especially if they have to commute. Which for Lutherans who love their communion is going to be a struggle. And so we'll see where the world takes us. I'm excited for it. And again, I see it more as like the Roman road to help people to get the gospel sooner rather than be a tool to destroy people's souls. So thank you for joining me for this video. God's blessings to you, and have a good night.